Um, could you tell me about your first experience of adoption?
Okay. Yeah, I was 14 years old and became pregnant. And in those days, not like as it is today, teenage pregnancy was very much frowned upon, very much a social stigma, and certainly there was never any expectation that a teenage mother would be taking her baby home, certainly not in my family, in my community. So sadly, my parents decided that the answer to this was to send me away and put me into a mother and baby home. So I went into care and spent several months in what I can only describe as an incredibly scary environment with lots of other young women who, like myself, were having unplanned pregnancies. And yeah, it was quite frightening, really, not least of which because of my age, but also just in terms of the other young people who were there. Some of them were quite aggressive, violent, certainly didn't come from backgrounds like my own, and I found that quite a challenge. But going through the pregnancy, the stigma was very powerful, really, and it was visible in the way that people dealt with you. And so eventually, when it came time for me to have my baby, I was admitted to hospital and had to sign my own consent because I had to have a caesarean after 17 hours of labour. They finally decided that I needed to have a caesarean, so I was there alone, nobody with me at all. Signed my consent myself, excuse me, and was taken to theatre. And when I came round, at the bottom of my bed was this beautiful baby boy. Now, sadly, in those days again, you weren't expected to breastfeed because you were giving your baby up, and so we had to walk the long corridors to go to the rooms where the milk were, and I found myself quite poorly, having gone through that traumatic ordeal. So at 10 days old, the social workers had arranged that they would come and collect my son and take him to foster carers, and I didn't see him again, which was a very, very difficult, very traumatic experience for me personally, very emotionally difficult, hugely impacted me in terms of my mental health, and was life transforming in so many different ways, really. So that was my first experience of adoption, was me actually being a relinquishing parent, giving up my son, going through the process, being asked to sign forms that I didn't want to sign, but not being given any alternative, no other option at that point in my life.